Welcome to DAPS Magic Live. I am Mr. DAPS, and I'm joined tonight by Katie and Cameron for, well, basically what it came down to is we were missing our Sundays in the parks together, and so we thought we would share some of our favorite secret things to do at Disneyland when we're able to return to the parks. We might not get to every little detail that we know, but we do hope to get to quite a few of them as we make our ways around the parks. And does this sound good for everybody?
Yes.
Did I get our plan right? Did I hit it right? So it's they're not saying no, so we're gonna go with it. So let's start at Disneyland because that's usually where we start on a Sunday afternoon. And let's start with Main Street USA because that's really where it all started when you think about it. And what are some of your favorite hidden gems on Main Street USA that you feel like are beneficial for people to go check out when we can go back to Disneyland?
There's one for me that
Yes.
I feel like is such common knowledge, yet I'm amazed every time when I bring it up, and for some reason nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about the flag retreat. If you don't know about the
Oh,
flag
totally.
retreat, go see the flag retreat at sunset. So it does change in
Ish.
depending on the schedule of what's happening around it. There is a full military honor flag retreat that happens on Main Street, USA, where they honor the armed services. If they are there, the band will play. The Dapper Dans will be there. And it's just a really cool ceremony. And for some reason, I'm amazed at the amount of people who don't, especially those who are in the armed forces or who have served, have no idea that it's happening. So
Yeah.
ask a cast member. Most cast members, especially the ones on Main Street, can tell you exactly what time it's supposed to happen. And then go. It's cool.
Absolutely agree with you. That's one of the best things, and it seems like lately it's between 4:15 and 4:45 in general. I think in the summer it gets a little bit later. No, actually, I think it's like 4:30 if I'm remembering the college band schedule from
It's
last year.
5:15.
5:15. Either way, it's not super late and definitely worth checking out. Katie, what do you got?
The porch on Main Street. I feel like a lot of people just walk by it because truly a lot of things on Main Street are facades or they are just shops. But there is a porch on Main Street that holds a bench and two chairs. I see it a lot of times when we walk by and it's empty. There's also a lot of other people walking by and they don't even look twice at it. It is one of the best places to sit on Main Street and just watch the world go by and listen to music. And sometimes the Dapper Dans are there. Just really nice.
And if you
Which
can
then
ever
it's a
get,
little bit weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you can ever get, if you're sitting right behind them,
Yeah.
if you can ever get it for the parades, normally there's at least a couple of people who know it's coming up for a parade going by. But if for
Yeah.
some reason it is the best seat for a parade, it's a private booth to watch the parade from.
Yeah.
And
Also,
it's great late at night too.
fun fact: it is the original entrance for the Wizard of Braz.
That is
So
also true.
Yeah.
My hidden gem on Main Street isn't so hidden either, but I do feel like a lot of people just walk by it as well, and that is the ragtime piano player at Coke Corner or Refreshment Corner, depending on how you pronounce it or call it, I guess. And
yeah, it's hard to look at Coke and pronounce it refreshment, man.
It's funny though, because you say Coke Corner and people are like, what? And you're like, Refreshment Corner? And like, oh, that place. But I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people walk on by, they don't realize there's a piano player there. They don't realize that during the day, often the Dapper Dans sing with said piano player there. And even better, the Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland and sometimes other characters will show up to play musical chairs in the early afternoon, usually around 2:30 ish. It's changed through the years, and I couldn't tell you what the time will be when it returns. Hopefully, it returns. But there are these hidden little moments that are just totally magical and a lot of fun. And sometimes they'll let guests play the piano, and it's just a really great thing to experience on Main Street USA. With that, let's move to Tomorrowland. How does that sound, Cameron?
To the future.
To the future. Let's go. Cameron, what is your hidden Disneyland gem to hit when we return to Disneyland, whenever that is, in Tomorrowland?
Goodness. I'm like going through the Rolodex in my head of all the
Right.
random.
Same.
It's like if you could go like to a specific store. One that I really enjoy, especially for those who enjoy their Disney history, is that in the store under, that is the exit for Astro Blasters. There are some large shelves that have a lot of items on them, and they are the original cars for, I believe it was the Rocket Rods. They're the rocket like vehicles that are turned up on their ends, and they use them as shelves.
Yep.
So a little bit of history kind of hidden in plain sight there. There's actually quite a few of those around the park, but I just like that it's being practically used in somewhere else in the park in the same area.
Good one. Katie.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling trying to think of Tomorrowland specifically because I don't know. I do love to point out because it's kind of strange. It can be kind of hard to get a good angle of it, but what used to be the loading platform of the People Mover is still pretty much intact. So if you can get to a place where you can see it, you can still see all of the railings and everything. And it's just something kind of fun to look at because you don't get to see many things that are abandoned at Disneyland.
And in a quick question with that, or trivia question, what is the name of that platform now? They've created a thing on top of it.
Oh yeah, the that doesn't spin anymore, does it?
I haven't seen it spin in a while, but it used to spin and they'd play music from things like
on the hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they
Anybody
named
know?
that.
All right, comments. Let us know if you know the name of it. Do you know, Cameron?
I don't.
Okay.
I had no idea that they
does
named
have
that.
a name. And you can find it online, but you guys can't go and cheat. But anyway, my thing for Tomorrowland isn't such a secret, but I actually feel like it is just from experience. And that is there are multiple restrooms in Tomorrowland. And I feel like most people go to the exit of Space Mountain and wait in line, and it's really busy and it's crowded as you're trying to get back that hallway. But if you go over by Autopia, around to the left of, are you trying to do 3D, Cameron?
No, for some reason my Zoom was off. I was super blurry. I was trying to fix it.
You weren't on our end.
Funny.
But if you go over and go to the left of, what is now a Star Wars launch bay, and just follow it all the way around there, you'll see a little Atmosphere store, and there are restrooms right behind there. And I feel like if you don't want to wait, that is the restroom to go to because you never will have to wait. So there is your place that you should stop. I don't know that that's anything fancy that's like a Disney hack or anything, but it is a good tip, especially on busy summer days. You'll be much happier doing that. I would also say don't get on the train there.
Knowing the right restroom to go to is a good tip, though.
We could do, you know what, we should do that for every land as we're going through it. If we go back to Main Street, best one is right next to the tour gardens for guest relations. It is a single stall if you need a little bit more privacy. It's wonderful. All access restroom for all genders if you prefer that. It's the best.
Other than every time I've ever tried to use it, there's been a line.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, it's the best, except for just enough people know that it's the best to make it not the best. But
it's also only one of two restrooms in the park that has more than one ply toilet paper, and I can't tell you what the other one is.
There you go. All right, so let's move on to Fantasyland. And Fantasyland, what is your favorite tidbit, your Disney secret thing that you are excited about when we go back to Disneyland? Katie, why don't you go first this time?
Mine, I feel like mine is one that everybody knows, but is it still going right now? I don't know, actually. But
you haven't said it
over
yet.
Snow White's Scary Adventure, every 30 or so seconds, the Evil Queen opens the curtains and looks out upon all of the dwellers of Fantasyland. It's also very fun because a lot of times kids will kind of like tug on their parents' shirt and be like, look, and they turn around and she's not looking anymore because she's closed the blinds.
Totally happened as a kid. All the time. I know my parents were messing with me now, but at the time I just could not figure out how they wouldn't see it.
So it's just a fun thing. It sometimes scares people, which is very funny, but it's just a cute little thing that it's fun to look at.
Cameron.
So there's a couple of specificities with this, but one of the central focal points of Fantasyland, and really a central focal point of Disneyland in general, is the carousel. It's part of the impetus for Disneyland being built at all was Walt wanting to have a carousel because he went to the carousel at Griffith Park. This carousel is very special, though, for a couple of different reasons. One, you'll notice that all of the horses are white. Typically on a carousel, the lead horse is painted white, and Walt wanted to make sure everybody got a lead horse, so everyone gets a lead horse. Also really fun and a bit of history associated with it. There is technically a lead horse, and her name is Jingles. Jingles was the favorite of two very important women. It was the favorite of Miss Julie Andrews, which now there's as of I think the 50th anniversary, there was now small umbrella painting. It was a favorite of Miss Lily and Disney, which is very important because Jingles is the easiest one to find. You can find Walt's favorite. Walt's favorite is one horse back from Jingles. His name, I believe, is Buckeye, if I remember right. He does have a gold tooth, which is the easiest way to spot him. And the reason it's Walt's favorite horse is because he claimed it had the best view of Disneyland in the entire park, which was directly behind his wife.
Very good. That beats anything I was going to say. I was just going to say, when you go back to my probably one of my favorite places in Fantasyland, which is kind of an out of the way thing, which you're going to notice a trend here, is I love to go down behind the Small World Mall, and there's this little jetty kind of thing that used to be the loading zone for the speedboats. And now it's just the seating area behind where you can buy, what is that called? The turkey place.
Edelweiss?
Edelweiss, yes. And it's just tables and chairs, and it's one of the quietest, most relaxing places you can find at Disneyland that still doesn't have a million things happening around it all the time. And so like, I remember actually it was about a year ago now, Roger and I were taking pictures there one night, and it's just a really pretty view of it's a small world now that they've opened it up a little bit more, and it's just kind of a unique little place that's quiet and secluded, and there aren't that many places like that left in Disneyland anymore. And it's great if you want a snack. It's great if you just need to sit down and relax a little bit. Sometimes during the day, you'll find like the Mad Hatter and Alice and Peter Pan and different characters playing charades or different games. Like they're kind of those party games. They'll play those there sometimes, and you never really know when that's going to happen, because I think it's just one of those magical things that just happens. But it's just a great place to be just about any time, really. So with that, should we go to Toontown next? I'm trying to think what's a good way to wrap around the park. Let's go to Toontown next. Cameron, would you like to lead off with Toontown, please?
I love Toontown so much.
You love Toontown? I never would have guessed.
I am a Toontown stan, as the children say.
Kids do say that.
Yep. So the whole point of Toontown in many ways was for it to be interactive. Some of the elements are less interactive now than they used to be, certainly. But a lot of them are still functioning. This one is not hidden by any means, but it is still my favorite activity in Toontown, which is if you walk towards the store, Five and Dime in the back, and look to the right, there is a door to the electrical company that when pulled on makes a... Yeah, dang it. Sorry. When pulled on, makes a really loud noise and flashes some lights. And if you sit there for 10 minutes, you're going to see a couple of kids that have no idea that that's what it's about to do.
So I think what Cameron was saying right there, since you cut out, is if you see a couple kids walking up there, they'll test it out, and then they get scared out of their minds. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, I was. Sorry.
Okay, cool. It's really quite entertaining, and usually Pluto or Goofy are around there also taking pictures, so you can pretend to watch the characters, but really be watching the kids get scared out of their mind, and that's very enjoyable. Actually, it's fun too, though, because sometimes people will go up and take pictures, and they'll be adults, and so you'll see like them set up this cute couple shot or something, and then one of the two will just like, I wonder if I can pull the door, and then it actually scares adults, or you see them jump a little bit, and that's kind of fun too. Katie, what do you got?
Mickey's Toontown has its own opening ceremony, and it's actually very sweet because the gates are closed when the park opens, and I'm not exactly sure what time Mickey's Toontown opens.
It's variable. It's
yeah.
It's usually about an hour after park opens, but it does change a little bit.
But if you head back there, Mickey and the gang will open up the gates. And do yourself a favor, if you're missing Disneyland, watch videos of this ceremony because you see kids just running towards these characters. And then the characters turn around and walk them through the gates of Toontown. And if you don't start crying, I swear, it's really magical. And I don't think a ton of people go and do it. So yeah, there's going to be crowds.
It's usually a couple dozen. Like it's usually not super bad.
But it's a very magical experience to see Mickey and the gang opening up the gates to Mickey's Toontown and welcoming in everyone. It's really magical.
It's also fun if you're there on a really empty day towards the end of Toontown being open. Sometimes you will see Mickey and Minnie walking around in Toontown. And I know you get to see Goofy and Pluto and Donald occasionally walking around Toontown, but seeing Mickey walk there for whatever reason just adds an extra. I mean, that's why it's fun at the opening too. And it just adds an extra bit of magic. I'm going to go with probably what you guys would consider a third tier secret that's not such a secret, but it's kind of it's a good tip. How is that? If you want to go see Mickey and the Magical Map, my tip is go to the right instead of the left. Everybody goes straight in and they go on the left side, and so you got this huge group of people basically clambering down the stairs and taking forever. And if you just go a little bit further and go to the end, you can get a much better spot and not have to wait as long because it's just not as crowded. And
if I can top onto that, if it is a bit crowded, even when you're on the right side, the front section isn't always the best.
Go in the middle.
The middle. If you can get right up on the railing of that second section, best view, you'll be able to see everything that's happening.
Yep.
Sure.
Railing in any section is really good. I mean, now that you mention it. All right. From there, let's go to Frontierland, huh?
Yes.
Over in Frontierland is a wonderful place to be. And Katie, what would you like to share about Frontierland? That's your little secret magical tip or...
It's where they created Doritos.
Okay, go.
That's it. That's
good.
all I got.
That was good.
It's really hard. I was trying to think about Frontierland, and I'm sure the other hard thing is like Cameron was saying, I'm trying to kind of go through my Rolodex of like Disney knowledge of my life, and it's like when you know all these things, but you're suddenly asked a question, you're like, I have no idea. So
I've never known anything about Disney in my entire life.
What is a Disneyland? So you say Frontierland secret, and I go, Doritos.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fun
We've
fact.
all been there.
That's a thing that I learned from Geeks Corner.
Aww.
Yeah.
Tuesday nights, 9:30 on this YouTube channel. Cameron.
Yeah.
You got one, Cameron?
Yes, I do indeed.
Okay.
Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. I asked my household to turn off their internets.
Beautiful.
So hopefully that works a little bit better.
You're sounding good so far.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Twofold, because they're both very small. One, in the back of the Frontierland Mercantile, I feel like a lot of people don't know it's there, but there is a box orchestra, which is a really cool old entertainment device that you just put a few coins in it, and there's a bunch of instruments in the same box, and they will play a little tune for you. It's just, I really like old, innovative technologies, and so that's really cool. And two, this one isn't so much a guarantee, but it is on occasion nice to ask. And remember, this is never an obligate. It never is guaranteed to happen. But if the Mark Twain Riverboat is there, especially if it's a little less busy, you can ask if anyone is up in the wheelhouse and if you'd be able to go up there. It is a rarity.
Providing you have a smaller group.
Yes, you have to have, I believe it's 3 or less people.
I think so too.
But you can always ask. They may say no, either because they don't have enough people to cover it, or they want to make sure people are safe or whatever. But on occasion, you can go up, steer from the wheelhouse. You get a great view of the rivers of America as you go around, and it's just a lot of fun. Fun fact, that is where we met Jeremy, friend of DAPS Magic. The very first point of connection that we ever met him was I went up to the wheelhouse, and he happened to be up there steering. So
love Jeremy.
Great guy, and yeah, that is one of those really magical things. It's also just got fantastic views, and that is, if you want one of the coolest views, you don't have to be at the top level in the wheelhouse, but if you're on the top level, and as you're coming into the dock, you led into my secondary one since you stole my first one again. But if you're on the port or left side of the boat, or the Mark Twain as you're coming in, look over towards the Matterhorn, and you can get a really cool picture of not just the Matterhorn, but also Sleeping Beauty Castle and then the Matterhorn. And it's just one of those really random, fun spots you just don't see very often, other than that one spot in Frontierland as you're coming into the dock. All right, from there, let's go to Adventureland just so we don't forget it. And what do you got in Adventureland, guys? Sounds like Katie's ready to go.
If you are in the queue of Indiana Jones Adventure, there are things on the wall that are called monoglyphs. Is a actually I have one of the key cards around here somewhere, but you can translate what they say, and there's very fun things. I think it's like drink from the waters of wisdom or something above the drinking fountains, and they are all through the queue.
And the Disneyland app does that now too, right?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that's in the Disneyland app. I was going to say you could like Google a translator or something. Yeah, it's in the Disneyland app.
Even easier.
It's really fun.
Cameron.
Disneyland.
Disneyland.
My first urge is probably going to be the one that you're going to do, Mr. Daps, and I'm trying not to steal it again.
Does it have to do with a tree?
Yes, it does. I'm not going to do that one. I will do a different one.
Okay.
Goodness. Here's a fun one. When it is working on the rare occasions, there is an Indiana Jones pinball machine inside of the store.
Is it still there?
It is. It's moved around a couple of times. But
okay. Because I know for a while when we were looking, we couldn't find it.
Right. They brought it back. Yes. It is my favorite pinball machine in the entire world, and I will own it one day. I haven't been able to find it for less than $7,000, but it is the actual Indiana Jones, I believe, Raiders of the Lost Ark pinball machine. And my pro tip to you is, if you can hit the big spinning ball in the back 3 times, it will drop out, I think, 6 or 7 of the pinball balls all at the same time. It's absolute madness. And if you have a kid watching you at the time, they will think you are the coolest person in the entire world.
Pinball wizard.
Nice. So continue on. Tell me what you thought you were going to do with the tree.
Little Man of Disneyland was my first urge.
That was not the one I was going to go for.
There we go.
So go ahead.
So it's pretty common knowledge at this point, but just at the entrance of Indiana Jones Adventure, if you were to turn to the right, there is a tree with a small concave in the back side of it, which is the home of the Little Man of Disneyland, which was the star of a golden book, which came out just, I believe, before Disneyland opened, talking about the opening of Disneyland. There was a leprechaun that lived on the property ahead of Mickey and the gang coming in, and didn't want them to come. And Mickey got to tell them how good of a time it was going to be to have Disneyland there, and he agreed on the agreement that he got his own house in Disneyland, and that's where it is to this day.
And we have an article with a photo on it that I posted a month or so ago on dapsmagic.com, so you can go there and search for it and you'll find it. That's a good one. And another fun little thing with that is when I was a little kid, my grandparents had that book the original version of that book that Grandma would read to us when we were 4 or 5 or however old we were. I was actually going to go with a bigger tree, and I was going to talk about Tarzan's treehouse, which used to be the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, which if you still walk through said treehouse and go back to the bottom, you can hear the original music in the record player down in near the exit of it. It's I guess it's a little science area that they're doing, but you can hear the Swiss Family polka as you're walking through. That used to be played on an organ upstairs in one of those really awesome rooms that I always thought would be really cool to live in. And that would be an interesting discussion, is if you could live at Disneyland, where would you live?
Speaking of sound effects on the treehouse, Tarzan's treehouse, you ever want to scare the pants off some kids? Convince them to go closer to the big cat scene. There is a motion sensor, if you get close enough, that will cause the big cat to roar, and it's really funny.
Kind of screams at you, doesn't it? Yeah. Yep. All right, let's move on over to New Orleans Square. What do you got, Cameron?
I of the lands, I feel like I know the most minutia about New Orleans Square.
Beautiful.
But I love New Orleans Square because it is detail oriented as far as comparing it to the French Quarter. And my favorite are the Romeo spikes. If you go into the actual quarter itself, on several of the buildings, there are posts holding up the second store balconies. And around them, you will see what look like little sunburst spikes. Some of them are a little bit wavy around near the top. And those are called Romeo spikes. And they're a real thing that are in New Orleans. And it was to prevent young lovers from climbing the balconies to the young maidens above. So they're called your Romeo spikes because they prevented those climbing.
Cool. Katie.
Court of Angels. Kidding. Um,
I was
I'm
like, really, you're
sad.
gonna go there, huh?
Yeah, I
No,
miss
you're
Court
not,
of
because it's behind a gate.
I miss Court of Angels. I guess my fun thing is the entrance that you think is to Club 33 is not the entrance to Club 33. Most people think that the big shiny door that says 33 on it is the entrance to Club 33.
Used to be.
Used to be. It's not anymore.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like I see people, and yes, it does have the big grand signage of Club 33. And so I feel like I always see people taking pictures in front of that door, being like, "Look at me!" Like fake pulling on the door. You know the photos. And I always kind of want to be like, "It's not the door."
That's one of those cases where it's really great to just let people enjoy their ignorance.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, you don't want people to take pictures with the real door because then it would be
Clogging it up. Yeah.
It would
And do you really want to be that person that destroyed the magic? Like,
no.
I mean, that's to me is like, they're happy, they're not doing any
Yeah.
harm. It'll be fine. Someday somebody's gonna discover on Google or something like, oh, we did the wrong door.
Well, here's
Yeah.
a fun
No,
thing
that's
about
fine.
the wrong door that I think this is okay to share simply just because it's no longer accessible to anywhere. When the door used to be there. There was a very famous elevator that was part of that.
Yeah.
And this is just a really fun Walt story. It is a replica of a French elevator. Walt saw an elevator he really, really liked in a very old French hotel, and he wanted it. So he offered some ridiculous amount of money to the French hotel owner, who scoffed and said no. And so I think it was only a couple of weeks later, Walt sent a bunch of Wet Enterprises folks over there, and they took detailed notes of every inch of that thing and built an exact replica for him.
I love that.
There you go. I'm going to go a little bit simpler on this one, and it really comes down to going Cafe Orleans and getting pommes frites. And really, like, if you haven't eaten there, you haven't been to Disneyland. And to me, that's okay.
You haven't eaten there?
No.
What?
We'll fix this. Once
It's
it's
also-
back open, we're going.
It's one of the best cheap meals in the parks too.
Yeah.
If you get pommes frites, if they have gumbo going, or even whatever soup they have going, and a cup of Coke, which they get refills, you will have excellent service. It will probably be like $10, and you get to have this great view of Disneyland. It was one of my favorite places to go when I was on a bit more of a budget, because you get great table service and it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, it's a great place to go. It's great for people watching, and you can get reservations there too. So I believe you can, right? And
Yes.
I was like, I think you can. But no, that's, I think, one of those things that a lot of people are always so into going to Blue Bayou that they forget that right across the way. I almost think it's better than Blue Bayou in some ways. But
I'm with you.
I mean, the atmosphere is better at Blue Bayou just from the magic of, hey, I'm eating in this attraction that's absolutely amazing. But hopping on over to Cafe Orleans, I just feel is, it's just, I just have always had a great time there. And I've always been super happy with the food. And I don't really have any complaints that I can ever think of there.
I always tell people when they're asking for recommendations that area, that if it's a special anniversary date for 2 people, Blue Bayou. If it's a larger party and you want to be able to have a conversation, go to Cafe Orleans.
Especially if it's like 4 to 6 people, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just now realizing I've never eaten anywhere in New Orleans Square. I've never been to the club, never been to Blue Bayou.
That's a lie. You have eaten at Lafitte's Landing, because I have eaten there with you while you were soaking wet after going on Splash Mountain a couple dozen times.
Is that New Orleans? I guess that's technically New Orleans Square.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I guess so. I have eaten at Lafitte's Landing.
I do think that is a good point to
Harbor Valley.
pivot on and go over to Critter Country, though, since you bring up Splash Mountain, Cameron. And what is your favorite part of your little hidden secret? I'm going to lead off, actually, just because it's
You've
in my
got the
head.
easy one.
The candy?
No, actually.
I was just going to say, you can get really fresh, great candy back there. We lost you again, Cameron, a little bit. You can get really, watch them make the candy. You can eat it there. And the people are always super friendly. And the line's never as long as if you get the fresh candy, or fresh candy is made on Main Street or on Buena Vista Street. So I always suggest heading back there to Pooh Corner and getting candy.
They gave us free marshmallows once because we were cute. Do you guys remember that?
Yes,
Yeah.
That was awesome.
that was a
Because
fun night.
Because we were like watching them make little marshmallows.
That was
and
a
they
good
said,
night.
my lead said I could give you marshmallows. We said,
They had fun. It was we did too, but yeah.
that was the
All right,
best night.
Cameron, what do you got?
Okay, I'm going to skip over a Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh one because I think Katie might take that one.
I was going to, yeah.
That's totally fine. How is this for a segue plug? One of my favorite things to do in Disney that isn't necessarily Disney related is to go to the Hungry Bear restaurant later in the evening when it is either unopened or simply not very busy. I have played Dungeons and Dragons at the Hungry Bear restaurant
Yes, you have.
a couple of times now.
Yeah.
And so speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, you should totally watch DAPS and Dragons, which is our Dungeons and Dragons live stream that we're doing. There's going to be another one this Thursday. Just pointing that out. Anyway, yes, Hungry Bear restaurant is very quiet in the evenings, especially if you go up on the second deck. It's a really cool place to experience the fireworks at, and if you catch those last runs of the Mark Twain or the train going around, it's also very pretty up there.
Katie.
I'm pulling an audible. If you stand, say like you walk out of the bathrooms that are underneath Hungry Bear, and
I'm standing.
you walk straight forward. If you stand there during Phantasmic and watch the Mark Twain go by, you get to see the characters up really close. And it's a pretty magical moment as you watch them come back around, and you get to wave and see them. I feel like the other ones are pretty, those other facts that I was going to go for, the Splash Mountain and the Winnie the Pooh, they're very easily accessible. But this is something that we have done in our free time. Sometimes we'll be like, should we watch Fan, or should we
just watch the exit of Fan?
Or should we stand at the dock? And you can also see many of the barges loading, and you get to see those performers a lot closer than you get to see. It's just super magical, and you get to wave, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun experience.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Katie would like to go first, huh?
Oh, I was just going.
Yep,
off
no,
to
she volunteered.
Galaxy's
You
Edge.
raised your
volunteered.
hand, so I was like,
She
okay,
volunteered.
it's all you. What is one of those little hidden gems that you just love in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? One of those secrets that we will know about when we go back.
So, in the queue of Rise of the Resistance, the whole point of Rise of the Resistance is it is a resistance bunker that they have carved out of these mountains, and there is evidence in the mountains that they have been lived in for many generations. There's pottery. There is writing on the walls that you go through in the queue, and it's truly just the Resistance has carved out these to make their tunnels and their bunkers and all these things. So it is very fun to get to look around, and it's something super easy. If you looked past it, you wouldn't even think twice about it. But it is just that story building of Resistance, and it's
history.
There were people there before. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Cameron.
There are a lot of interactive elements in the marketplace that almost no one interacts with for whatever reason. Some of them are activated by the in-app game that you can play around the area through the Disney Play app. And some of them are just activated by pressing buttons and stuff. I know for a fact that at the water fountain near the restrooms, you can see the weird octopus squid monster from A New Hope pop up his eye. You can also get the I think they're called Minars, the bat things from episode 5 are above the creature shop, and they will scare all of the animals inside the creature shop. And it is absolutely terrifying because they make a lot of noise. So figure out how to activate that, and it's a lot of fun.
And I'm really happy that neither of you took mine. And that is that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is a fantastic place to get a different view of the fireworks from. Show up like 20 minutes before and you'll get a great spot just about anywhere. Like you can watch from down in the Resistance camp, you can watch up by the Millennium Falcon, you can watch over in the First Order garrison area, you can watch over by the, what is that, the repair shop kind of thing. But literally any open area in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, you can get a fun, very different view of any fireworks show that happens to be going on. Doesn't work so well if they're doing the projection show, but as long as there's fireworks
Yeah.
going, it's a fun place to experience that. All right, with that, we've hit all of our little secret, well, we haven't hit all of them, but the ones we're going to hit tonight of Disneyland. Let's hop over to Disney California Adventure. Buena Vista Street, Cameron, go.
Here's one. Buena Vista Street and Main Street USA both share something in common, that each of them have a Jewish American resident. It is Mr. Katz.
Julius Katz.
Julius Katz. Julius.
Is that right? Or is and Julius Katz. And during the holidays, if you look up at their window on the second story, you can see a Hanukkah in each of those windows. So it is celebrating Hanukkah during the season.
Cool. Katie.
If you are walking up Buena Vista Street on the left, there is a bit of a porch with some steps you can go up. There is like a call box kind of that lists residents on Buena Vista Street. One of them, and I'm not going to spoil all of them, but one of them is a Mr. E. Valiant, which is Eddie Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is super fun.
Very well done.
Yeah.
I like it. My favorite thing, and this isn't necessarily a secret, but it's just one of those things that I think is special, and that is it's very fun at the end of the night when Disney California Adventure is closing to grab a cup of coffee, cocoa, tea, whatever it is that you like to drink, and sit in front of the, actually anywhere around the Carthay Circle is a good place to sit and just watch people exiting. And if you do it a few minutes before the park closes, sometimes you'll see like Mickey and the gang walking around waving at people. Occasionally, hopefully when it reopens, the trolley, I'm spacing the official name of it, but
Red car.
Red car trolley. Occasionally you'll see them riding off into the sunset, into the night on the red car trolley, waving at people, which is very fun as well. But anywhere, like on the benches, on the tables, anywhere sitting around Carthay Circle with a cup of coffee or whatever your warm drink of choice is at night is a great way to end the night at Disney California Adventure. With that, should we head over to, what do you think, Hollywood next?
Yeah.
Hollywoodland?
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Let's do that next. Cameron, what do you got?
A holdover from the Disney's California Adventure days, and it is still operating to the best of my knowledge. At least I checked it, I think, before the parks closed. They're one of the top windows in the Animators Academy. If you go around the corner walking towards what is now Mission Breakout, the top left window will have a light on late into the evening. It is supposed to represent Walt's animator's office that he's working late.
Cool. Katie.
Okay, mine is kind of niche, and it's not something that people can check out, but I want people to know this, okay? I need people to know this. So, when it was Muppet Vision 3D, Gonzo had smashed into the wall, and his motorcycle was sticking out.
Uh-huh.
So the motorcycle is gone, right? And they have simply covered up that with a sign. Gonzo's still there, guys. He's still there. One of the signs blew down a couple years ago, and everybody was like, Gonzo's still here. His motorcycle is gone, but Gonzo remains, and I think everyone should know that, dang it.
Okay.
Now we do.
It's important to me!
I'm going to need your help with this one, Katie, for me, because Hollywood Backlots has some of the best nachos that you can find at Disney California
True.
Adventure, and that's at the food truck, and I don't remember the name of the food truck.
It's like the backlot.
Is it the Backlot food truck? Is it that
It's
simple?
changed a couple of times.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's like stage. I don't know.
But they have fantastic nachos there, and
It's back by Danvers, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's right next to where Captain America is.
yeah. It's right in that superhero area. It's the giant red food truck. You cannot miss it.
And it's delicious. Like all
Yeah.
of them are delicious.
Get
But-
the backlot nachos.
Yeah.
It's like $10 for these nachos. You can share them or not. We don't judge. And they are so good. Oh, I miss
That is
those
true.
nachos.
They're very good. All right, let's hop on over to Cars Land.
You were going to say Bug Sign, weren't you?
No, I almost
We
made the
could-
joke, and then I was like, I don't know if that's okay to make. Like, Let's talk about Cars Land next. Katie, you got something?
Trying to think off the top of my head.
Okay, this one's pretty obvious.
I think you froze. Oh no, he's just waiting. All right. Well, while Katie thinks of one,
I have one.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So if you walk all the way down, and you go to City Hall, the City Hall of Radiator Springs, and you take a left instead of taking a right towards Radiator Springs Racers, there's a very quaint little seating area, and there's a very nice mural that says something along the lines like, "Welcome to Radiator Springs. We're so glad you're here." And it has
Nobody
these
sees it.
cars smiling. It is one of my favorite cute little areas of Cars Land, and I feel like no one's ever there. So if you ever want to just sit, because everyone is splitting off to go towards Radiator Springs Racers, it's just a nice area. It's not so nice in the summer because there's not a lot of shade there at all.
But it's always nice in the evening.
It's always nice in the evening, and you can just sit there and watch, and you can almost feel like hidden in plain sight because no one will ever look your way.
Yep. All right, Cameron, what do you got?
All right, I have two, and they're both small, and the first one's very obvious. If you watch the films, one of the funniest moments in the film is when they're looking at the street light in the center of town, and he says, the van says, "I'm telling you, man, every third blink is a little bit slower." And then Sarge turns and says, "60s weren't good to you, were they, kid?" If you look at the street light in the middle of Cars Land, every third blink is a little bit slower.
When you told me that, it blew my mind.
It's so good. So
it blew my mind.
That's one. Two, and this one's a more recent addition because it's rarer to be able to get it. They've recently opened up a icy stand back near Radiator Springs Racers. And for some reason, I think it technical difficulty maintaining the ices in that particular location, what have you. It's not always open. You kind of have to get lucky for it to be open. But when it is, go up there. Trust me, order one with everything. It won't cost terribly much. It'll cost a little bit more than listed. It won't cost a ton, but you will get the largest, just unicorn rainbow cup of sugar, and it's destructive, and you will get looks the entire time you have it. It's the best thing ever.
Aren't there dinosaur gummies in it?
There are dinosaur gummies. There are nerds. There are several different colors of icy.
Man.
There's like a powder thing. There's like a bunch of stuff. It's just rainbow.
I could not do that. That would kill me.
Oh, I get sick every time, but it's totally worth it.
Oh man, I don't know that I could do that. That's unfortunate. My little tip for this is grab wherever you want to eat your food, grab it and go, unless you're doing a sit down restaurant. And then everybody meet at Flo's and eat out on the balcony and just watch the sun go down. And if you time it right, you can also hear in the distance the "Life Will Be a Dream" shaboom shaboom thing. And watch the lights turn on. But it's a really gorgeous area of the park that's also not super busy. If you go out there in the back where there's another light out there, neon light that says Flo's V8 on the side as you're walking out towards Pacific Wharf. And that is, like, we've spent hours there sometimes just sitting there. And it's never super, super busy. And usually what I would suggest is go a little bit after normal dining hours. So go 6:30 or 7 as opposed to between 5 and 6:30. And you can just have so much fun watching people have fun. And I think that's actually one of the most magical things at Disneyland. And it's nice to have a place where if you have a group of 6 or 8, which we sometimes do, where everybody can just sit down, be together, and enjoy each other.
Yeah. I think you also brushed over, I'm going to hit this really, really quick. If you go at sunset, sunset-ish, hang around on the main street of Cars Land because you'll hear "Life Could Be a Dream" and you'll watch all the neon lights come on.
It's just like the movie.
Literally one of my favorite things, and it makes me cry. Oh gosh, just thinking about that. Thinking about seeing that in person again.
If you don't want to miss it, you can ask the cast members in Cars Land. They do know the exact time it'll be every evening. So.
Yeah.
It's
or
magic.
General time. And let's head over to Pacific Wharf. And there, I think the main thing that we're all going to probably hit, so I'm just going to kill it for everybody, is you can get a free piece of bread by going through the bakery tour.
Love bread.
And that was the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, Cameron's going to take it. I
You
better
can get
say
a free
it fast.
piece of chocolate at Ghirardelli.
No, you
Not
can't.
anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh, rats! Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they like got away, like got rid of it, and then came back, and then got away. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's. I think sometimes seasonal. You might get lucky.
Rip free chocolate.
Yes. All right. What do you got, Cameron?
Technically, you're standing on the Pacific Wharf side of things, so I'm totally going to use this. If you were to continue the path around Flows and there is a second exit of Cars Land that goes back by Radiator Springs Racers. If you take a photo from the direction of Pacific Wharf towards Cars Land, it is one of the best photo spots in the park.
100% agree. In fact, that is the first view I got of Cars Land, and that was at a media event. I think it was like 6 weeks before Cars Land opened. They took us in to taste the food and see it. And I remember we all just walked out from backstage right there where the cars come out, and we turned the corner and got that first view that's just iconic. And I think everybody just stopped and gaped at it. It was just ridiculous. Katie, what do you got for Pacific Wharf?
I don't know. There's not a lot of like little hidden tidbits.
Yeah, there is.
If you stand in Ghirardelli, the walls do fun things.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
And it's not always the same thing. Like you could stand there and wait for your ice cream for 30 minutes and you probably wouldn't see the same things. Like one of them is a Great California Earthquake and everything shakes. And I think the cast members yell earthquake, if I recall.
On occasion.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But it's just super fun and you can just watch. It's all a kind of mural of like Great California monuments. And they all do really fun things. So
good one. All right, moving on over to Pixar Pier. Is that next?
Sure.
All right.
We're gonna skip the obelisk.
I was thinking that counts as part of Paradise Park.
Yeah.
And so I was going around Pixar Pier first, and then we'll double back through Paradise Park.
And then we'll come back to the obelisk.
Yes. Do you want to talk about the obelisk? Do you have
the great and mighty obelisk? It's just really fun to say.
Okay. So Pixar Pier, you got something, Cameron?
Yes. Cookie Num Nums. I think there was a big explosion about it right when everything opened up, and then nobody talks about it anymore. To this day, it is still the best cookie in all of the Disneyland Resort.
And it's big.
And it's huge. You can share it, and it's really good with the milk, and they sell milk there. Yeah, I know it's not really hidden, but like for some reason nobody talks about it anymore.
That with the vanilla almond milk.
That is too much sweet for me.
I know it is, but oh, is it so good?
All right. Katie, what do you got?
Oh, I'm trying to think about Pixar Pier. It's really funny. I spent all that money on that premiere party, and I can't think.
I've got another one if you need a pinch hitter.
I might. I can't think of anything.
Are you gonna tag out for Cameron?
Well, okay. I mean, I was gonna say my fun fact wasn't a fun fact. I was gonna say what is currently the adorable snowman used to be the best ice cream on property.
Okay.
Rip.
That's not fun at all.
No, it's not.
I don't think that's a secret either.
It's not. It's not a secret. What, Cameron? What were you gonna?
What did you have, Cameron?
Midway Mania tactics. The way to get the highest score on Midway Mania is cooperation. If you work with the person that's in your boat with you, each of the scenes has a secret double activated portion that if you hit it, you'll get the most points possible. For example, in the Army plate scene, there are two, I think, 10,000 point plates that pop up at the same time. And if you both hit them, it will activate a tank that shoots a bunch of stuff at you that's really useful. If you are in the volcano scene and you focus just on the lava on the volcano, both of you, it will cause the volcano to erupt. And each of the scenes has something like that, where if you both do a thing together, it will cause exponentially more points than you got before.
The real Toy Story mania was the friends we made along the way.
Okay.
No, Katie, fun facts. Fun.
There you go. That was fun. That was very good. Do they still do the tour of Lamplight?
I don't know.
You used to be able to ask, and you can go. They would give you a tour of Lamplight if they weren't super busy. And I think if you eat there, you for sure can. But that is very fun to see just because they point out the different Pixar facts and you get to learn a little bit more about that. There's also a secret room that sometimes you can dine in. We have yet to do this, but someday it will happen. And that's a fun little secret, I guess you could say, that's at Lamplight as well. Also, if you go down to, what is it, Chicken in a Box? What's the chicken place on Pixar Pier?
The weird chicken in a box thing?
Yeah, that one. It has surprisingly good fried chicken, is what I'm going to say. It's the box of chicken. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. We walk by it all the time, but
I can't think of it.
yeah, but it has surprisingly good fried chicken, and you don't have to wait too long. So if you're hungry and you want good fried chicken, I would dare say that it's better fried chicken there than at Flo's V8 Cafe. You don't get the full meal, but the chicken itself is better.
And it comes in a convenient box.
Yep. And you can eat it on a standing table right nearby. All right, let's go over to Paradise Gardens. What do we got?
Best place if you want to have a quiet sit-down meal with a lot of options for people who might be picky. The Paradise Gardens is got an eatery kind of surrounding it that's got a couple of like walk-up, very similar Plaza Inn options, as well as a couple of walk-up counters. And if there's any kind of food event going on, there'll be a lot of options there as well.
Which is often some of my favorite food in the park.
Yeah, some of the food's great. But it's relatively quiet over there. They occasionally have wonderful bands playing over there on the very small stage.
In fact, the final day that Disneyland was open, we spent some time watching the Darden Sisters there.
Good.
And they say
like
hi.
The Darden Sisters. Hello.
I forgot to tell you that till just now.
Well, be sure to mention they've been talked about on this illustrious web forum.
They are good, and I've got more videos that are going up of them on our YouTube channel.
Good folks. So, yeah, great place to sit and kind of have a quieter meal, or at least one with a lot of options if you have pick here, folks.
Absolutely. Katie, what do you got? I think I know which one you're going to do, but go.
I don't think you do.
Oh, we'll see.
In the queue for Goofy's Sky School.
Nope, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. There is a lot of very fun photos and memorabilia from Goofy that lines the walls from him taking flight school and flight classes. There are some really fun little hidden nuggets. I think it kind of gets overlooked sometimes because the line is frequently not very long for that attraction. So if you find yourself waiting in line, you are going to be very entertained with some very fun things. And I really like it.
I totally thought you were going to talk about the restrooms.
So if you go...
I defer mine to Katie in this one, so she can talk about the restrooms.
How could I forget? Okay.
Come here, everyone.
So if you go to the restroom, it's right behind Goofy Sky School, and it's in the back corner. They are still themed to DCA 1.0. We have to whisper, because if Disney hears us, they'll change it. But it's still Route 66 themed, and there's cactus. Is my favorite bathroom in the whole resort, because I love DCA 1.0. But again, don't talk about this too loudly. If Disneyland hears you and it goes, I'm gonna be mad. Okay?
Okay. It's
my favorite bathroom. It is my favorite.
That's why I totally thought you were gonna go with that. I was like, oh, Katie's definitely going there, and she didn't.
I love that you know that I have a favorite bathroom on resort property.
Well,
that I have talked about a bathroom at Disneyland enough that people associate me with that bathroom. Whew. Oh man. I just got really excited. I missed that bathroom.
You definitely did. That was great. Where would we like to go next?
Condor Flats?
Condor Flats? Okay.
Oh, that's not called Condor Flats anymore.
Well, it's Grizzly Peak now, right?
Yeah, Grizzly Peak Airfield.
So, Grizzly Peak, what
Condor
is your
Flats.
favorite themed area or secret about the area?
I'll talk about an injustice. If you're a large child like myself, you can't do the tire swings in the wilderness exploration area, and makes me very sad. However, you can go into a secret cave there and find out your spirit animal, and on very rare occasion, the spirit animal is Kevin.
There you go. That was a good secret. That was very good. All right, Katie, what do you got?
I scared my cat apparently with my Kevin noise.
Okay.
I just saw that he was on the attack. I was like, I'm sorry, Hamilton. I don't know. I think my favorite thing that differentiates our Soarin' from Florida Soarin' is that ours is also a California Aviation Museum, and it's there is
I
a
wonder
lot.
what version we're gonna get when it reopens.
I hope over California. I know probably not, but
I don't know.
I just hope. I can hold out hope, right?
Soaring over Bangladesh.
Why not?
Soaring over your grandma's house.
Hey there.
She's just
that's your,
baking.
That's
you
your
cookies.
grandma's house down there.
They just reused the cookie smell from Cookie Num Num.
There you go.
But there is a lot of history to see in that tunnel thing when you first get inside the building. And it's honestly so much history that you cannot take it through most likely in the time that you are in that building. So it's very...
And some great soundtracks.
I knew you were talking about the soundtracks. I knew it. Mr. Dapp's favorite game to play if you are anywhere in Condor Flats is what movie is this from? Quick.
Or anywhere in the world ever.
That's true. That's true.
Once in a while, you know. I do like the soundtracks. All right, and I'm gonna go with the station wagon that you can find in Grizzly Peak Airfield, and I'm not gonna actually give away all the details, but I will say it is very fun to go and look in the windows and just spend some time looking at all of the Easter eggs that can be found in that car, because I feel like a lot of people either just walk by it or take a picture next to it and move on, and they did some fantastic work with the details in that car. Also, if you walk around the backside of Grizzly River Rapids, that trail that goes around behind it, or through it kind of, there's some great details to be seen in the queue that's not always full for Grizzly River Rapids as well, that carries on the story of all of these people that run Grizzly River Rapids.
And a fun place to get a little bit of what is the word I'm looking for? Spectator joy.
Yes.
There's a bridge near the end of Grizzly River Rapids that overlooks one of the final couple of lines of the river that has a randomized geyser.
It's
that
amazing.
If it hits, it absolutely drenches everybody in the boat. And the perfect, like the chef's kiss, wonderful version of it is when it goes off and they don't know what's happening, and it goes off while they're going over it. And then as their boat passes over it, it rockets up, and it's wonderful. It's very
amazing.
And they are drenched, yes. So I think we have hit both parks, and we have done a fantastic job tonight. So thanks for joining us for some of these fun Disneyland secrets that we look forward to experiencing once we've returned to the Disneyland Resort, whenever that is. We hope you've enjoyed this. We hope you'll take a moment to subscribe to us, and also let us know in the comments what you thought of this show. We had fun doing it. We hope you had fun experiencing it. Also, you can find the three of us every Tuesday night at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time for Geeks Corner, where we are covering all of the, well, whatever we find geeky in the week. But you can find us at thegeekscorner.com at 9:30 each week, and you won't want to miss it, because you never know what's going to happen. And someday we'll get to shoot it together again, and that will be fun too.
And this week is our 500th episode.
And this week is our 500th episode, so we will see what happens with that. But we hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. We hope you've enjoyed this, and we do look forward to someday again seeing you in the parks.